Good morning, guys. Welcome to Professor Vipin's YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to understand how, when you say a lie 1,000 times, it actually becomes the truth. Now, I'd like to give an example about something that I recall from my days of final year graduation. So, I finished my graduation in 2008, and I remember when I was in my final semester or final year of graduation, I think in 2007. I would constantly see these advertisements in paper about a management guru. And I can't talk about his name because the bugger is going to sue me and create problems for me. Freedom of speech is restricted, folks. Remember that. So, back to this guy, in fact, who used to put ads in the paper, and he used to say that his college, and the ad would go about saying, dare to think beyond the IIMs. And he would talk about how his graduation and post-graduation program is superior to that of the IIM post-graduation programs. Now, this guy was outright lying, and he wasn't even allowed to offer a degree or any such qualification under the university laws of UGC or AICTE. But nonetheless, he would constantly put ads for 365 days a year, even rope in Shah Rukh Khan, and say that my college is better than the IITs and the IIMs. He initially started with the IIMs and even went on to say that he's superior to the IITs by saying that dare to think. So he would in fact repeatedly say this. Now, my friends and I, when we would see this ad in the newspaper every day, we would tell ourselves that holy shit, this must be true. Because why else would you be making such a claim? So when you keep telling a lie 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. I say this because Rahul Gandhi has been constantly attacking the government, saying that, the Rafale deal is in fact incorrect and there is some scam going on behind the whole deal. But the truth is anything but far from that. There is no scam going on behind the Rafale deal. There are a few things which many people will point out that maybe it's a scam, but no. Even if the Supreme Court has dismissed the petition saying that, the Rafale deal is in fact something which is a scam, I would go with the verdict to the Supreme Court. Now, you might say that, the Supreme Court is wrong, but that becomes a very incorrect thing. If you're going to say this verdict to the Supreme Court is wrong, you're going to start questioning the several decades of history of the Supreme Court and say that, this verdict is right, this verdict is wrong, and so on. That's the similar thing that happened with the people in the JNU when they questioned that Afzal Guru's decision to be executed is in fact something that wasn't right by the Supreme Court. So you can't selectively say that, this court decision is correct, this court decision is incorrect because I believe it's correct or incorrect. That the world doesn't work that way. The world doesn't work on your opinions. So Rahul Gandhi, while addressing a rally in Patna, has attacked the PM Modi once again on the Rafale deal. He said that PM Modi has given rupees 30,000 crores to Anil Ambani, but only announces rupees 17 per day for the poor farmers. So, not poking fun at farmers. If farmers could go about, in fact, making the Rafale aircraft possible, they could go about getting 30,000 crores. Understand this. If you are rich, you will be in a position of power and you will be politically well connected. So you getting a deal, being close to politicians, will seem as unfair for the other sections of the economy. But this is the way in which life works. The rich are powerful and you should understand that they are able to in fact get deals which somebody else could not. Now, you might say, why didn't the HAL in fact get this deal? The HAL has failed to deliver many times. In fact, just about yesterday or day before, there were in fact a couple of pilots who lost their lives, unfortunately, while flying some of the test aircrafts. So the HAL, which was once supposed to deliver the light combat aircraft, has still been working on it and there has been no updates on that for a very long time. So if you are able to get it done for the sake of the Indian defense, and even if, let's say, for example, the HAL was able to do it for 25,000 crores, and you had to give it to the private sector, Anil Ambani, Reliance, you're able to give it to for 30,000 crores. I don't see what's the problem there because you are strengthening India's defense. There is no questioning on that. Announces only 17 per day for poor farmers, and know this, many farmers barely get anything. If the government is able to give them something, at least that 500 rupees per month or the 6,000 rupees per annum, it is a huge deal. Congress president said that everyone knows that Chaukidar chor hai. said Rahul Gandhi. The amount of money that has been given to one Anil Ambani is enough to fund three MGNEREGA. That's the minimum income guarantee scheme by the government. Now, understand this. Everything that you do in an economy has a trade-off. That is, if you take from something from here, you will have to, in fact, give something to there. I had mentioned this in another video where I talked about marginal rate of substitution. You cannot have a system where one thing is, in fact, given to somebody and nothing is taken from anyone else. The world does not work that way. So, going by this logic, the money that has been given to Anil Ambani, if it wasn't given to Anil Ambani, it means you are compromising on India's defense. So you want to compromise on Indian defense and at the same time make farmers happy. There has to be a trade-off here. Not something that the Congress president understands, I assume. Another thing which the Congress president in fact doesn't seem to understand would be GST. Now he's attacking GST by saying that it's called as Gabbar Singh tax. So, I'm sorry, I have to giggle with the kind of things that the Congress president says sometimes. Congress President Rahul Gandhi today slapped the GST as Gabbar Singh tax and said that one slab of GST would be implemented when Congress party government comes into power at the center. This is hilarious because when the Congress party was in power, there were so many damn taxes. Let me tell you how service tax worked. And this is something I put up on my Facebook post because I had eaten at a restaurant where the bill was absolutely absurd. Now, this is when the service tax was about 12% something, it was the service tax. So I get the restaurant bill, and what happened was this is a non-AC restaurant. So the taxes on a non-AC restaurant was absurd. So for 40% of the bill, the restaurant had to pay VAT, and it was about 4% VAT, I think. The remaining 60% of the bill, they had to pay that 12% service tax. This is something that the Congress government had implemented. This is a horrible way, in fact, you can calculate tax, and any accountant will pull his hair out by trying to do an audit for a system like this. So in a restaurant where you have to, in fact, calculate taxes by splitting the bill into two parts of 40% and 60%, this idea was by the Congress. Income taxes, when it was introduced by the Congress, they had given income tax based on three categories. One is for, of course, for women. The other one, of course, for generally for the men. And the other one being senior citizens. So there again, complicating income taxes unnecessarily. Moving on. In that, there will be only one tax level. There will not be 5 different taxes. In that, you will not have to fill different forms every month. When the GST was implemented, there was many hiccups, and that's a very normal thing. When a program as big as GST is implemented in the entire country, you will expect hiccups. It's never going to, in fact, happen so easily. The guys in the field of software would know when a new software is out, the amount of rigorous testing that you need to do, and even when the application goes live, you still see bugs in the system. So to say that, we'll implement GST in a flawless manner, not going to happen. It's too big of a program to be implemented without seeing flaws. And yes, the government, in fact, Arun Jaitley and the current finance minister, Piyush Goyal, had in fact proposed many changes in GST and have gone about implementing those changes in the GST system. For example, they removed the GST on sanitary pads, they reduced the GST for eating out in restaurants from 18% and brought it down to 5%. These are the things, in fact, that have gone about making changes for the whole GST system. Why is one tax a stupid idea? The reason why taxes are implemented is to deter people from spending. For example, you have 28% GST on luxury goods. If you bring down that GST to 5%, you will see that a luxury commodity like, say, air conditioners will be equated to something like toothpaste, which may have about just about 5% GST. So you are equating all commodities as the same thing. From an accounting point of view, it might seem like, yeah, it's the same thing. It feels wonderful to have such an easy system. But from an economy point of view, it's a very messed up system. Simply because higher taxation is given simply to deter people from spending. The idea of the government is to encourage spending on the most common things, but to minimize spending on the more expensive things. The reason why the government looks that way is because it's better that you invest that money, say, in the stock market, than in fact blow that money on a bunch of air conditioners or unnecessary luxury goods. Luxury goods, remember, are not essential goods. So the reason why the government would keep a higher tax rate is to deter people from spending. In fact, the whole taxation that they had implemented on restaurants is to deter people from eating out regularly. But of course, the government took a U-turn on that. That's a different story. In fact, when service tax was present long before GST, they had included additional services so that they can collect money from as many places as possible. So the taxation system is quite complex, and it is supposed to be complex. You cannot have a simple tax system. In fact, whenever my students who are studying CA talk about income tax, and by the way, I still don't understand income taxes correctly, it is a complex subject and it is supposed to be a complex subject. The reason is there are so many things happening in the economy, and these different things need to be treated differently. You cannot look at all commodities as one thing. By that, I'm equating a cell phone, which I'm using to record, by the way, is the same as the Audio Technica headphones, is the same as, say, a toothpick. It's not. Different goods require to be treated differently, and that's how the tax system is supposed to be implemented. I am hoping that the Congress president and any Congress leader who might be watching this video understands that this is how the taxation system works. And of course, the whole Rafale deal. Repeatedly saying that something is a scam doesn't make it a scam. You can convince people that it is, but no, I'm afraid it's not going to be that way, and the courts disagree with the Congress president. And yeah, that's about it. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening to me. Do like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching Professor Vipin. See you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.